Welcome back to this latest episode of Japan's Top Business Interviews. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, President of Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training. And my special guest today is the General Manager of Jean Rousseau here in Tokyo, and that is Alex Lanos. Alex, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Jean Rousseau is a very famous company. If you know about the business you're in, people may not be familiar with the name. Just talk a little bit about Jean Rousseau and what you guys do.
Yes, sure. First of all, thank you for having me. And yes, Jean Rousseau is kind of a, I would say, and I hope so, famous for people who knows about the watch, because it's my work to do the Jean Rousseau popularity inside the watch collectioner, watch connoisseur. And it's kind of a niche market. Jean Rousseau is a watch strap maker, especially for the leather and rubber now, and especially with the new trend. And because we try to do innovation, we have non-leather material. We are using non-leather material now.
So basically, it's a customized service for you can choose the strap, the type of leather, or whatever it might be you like what I'm wearing, and people can see it. But this is a Jean Rousseau strap I've got on here. It's in a cobalt blue, which I chose to go with this particular watch. And that's how I found out about Jean Rousseau and how we met, because I'd seen on Kirby Allison, he did a show on his program where he was visiting Jean Rousseau in London.
Yes.
And he was talking about the customized straps. I didn't realize that you're in Ginza.
Yes.
And so I went to your store, and then I got this strap specially made for this particular watch. So
thank you.
That's the type of business you're in. So it's a very niche, very specialized type of business. How long has the operation been going in Japan?
Yes, basically, Jean Rousseau is a strap maker for brand. It's a kind of OEM business. And the actual president, Mr. Bordier, when he buy the company, create the brand of Jean Rousseau. But he not only create a brand, he create a concept as the atelier boutique. In the same place, you have the atelier and the boutique. And the first atelier boutique opened in Paris in the beginning of the 2000s. And Ginza in Tokyo was the second one. It opened in the 2010 in different place, just close to the Hyatt building Swatch Group. And we moved in the Namiki Street in 2012. And yes, the concept of atelier boutique is for the customer to have a really nice atmosphere. Of course, a boutique with a lot of choice of ready-made strap and leather goods, but you have an access to the craftsman, to the atelier. And you have this atmosphere, very nice. And now a lot of, I think, watch brand do the same in the boutique. You have a craftsman who do the works on the watch. But at this time, it was very, very new concept, I think. And especially in Japan, I think, for customers to have the chance to see the craftsman do the work on the leather, do the operation, just clothes, you can see it. It's like in a restaurant, you see the chef do the cook in front of you. It's a very nice experience. And I think there is a nice experience. And when the customer go to Jean Rousseau, you really want to order, personalize, customize straps to his watch. He can, I would say that, make coordination with his suits, his shoes, his waist belt. Yeah, it's a lot of nice services.
Yeah, I as I say, I discovered that you existed, and then went and got my strap done, so I'm very happy with it. And I chose a very unusual color. Cobalt blue is quite an unusual color, but I wanted to have something a bit different with this particular watch, and so that suited me. And so for you, give us a bit of the background on your career, because this is very specialized. You're running a very niche, specialized business in Japan. How is it that you're in Japan? What did you do before this? Give us a bit of your background, please.
Yeah, sure. I learned about, just after, high school, I learned about Japanese culture, like Japanese language in Paris University. And
so why was that? I mean, a lot of people go through university, don't learn anything about these things about Japan. How is it that you learned about Japan at university? Is it in your doing a particular East Asian studies program or Japan studies program? Or?
Oh, no. Just, it was a bachelor, I think, I would say in English, license in French. It was a program with a mix of a language, of course, and different topics about culture, history, geography, economics. And I really want to do, after high school, I really want to do something different. Since, I was interested, of course, about Japanese culture. And
Why were you interested in Japanese culture?
Yes, as a lot of people of my generation, we see a lot of anime and maybe animation from Japan, anime, manga, everything, and some film too, because I was very interested by Kitano Takeshi or a different program. And I just wonder why I was interested in Japan, and I want to learn more about this country, this culture. And I don't know, maybe I have some experience, and and I start studying. Takes 3 years, and after 3 years, yes, I want to make experience, to use my my small knowledge about Japan, and go with a working holiday visa. And I work as a sailor for a French food shop in. I work in Shinmaru building, Shinmaru. At this time, it was the Printemps Ginza. Now it's a different name, but Maroni Gate, and work in Tobu Ikebukuro as a sailor. It was a very nice experience, but just after 1 year, it was too short. And when I come back in France, I really want to go back in Japan, but with another background. And I make business school, new study, more specific in the management and the business side. And I have the chance to find a job with a French program named VIE. It's to help to young people to go to Japan. It's for French people. It's a three-party contract between French, with the country, Business France, the company, and the subsidiary in Japan. And I started in Jean Rousseau as a business developer for leather goods. And after 1 year, the guy in charge of the subsidiary quit Jean Rousseau. And
so you started with Jean Rousseau from the very start?
Yes.
During
yes, of course, I do some job in my past when I was in Japan or something, but my really first experience was in Jean Rousseau, yes.
Wow, that's very, I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? Because you think about all of the French products, wines, foods, clothing, fashion that are here, huge range of things. And out of all of that world, one of the most niche items is where you started. How did you hook up with Jean Rousseau in the first place? How did you even know about Jean Rousseau was in Japan?
At this time, I really want to find a job or a way to go back in Japan, with a nice job. And I have two propositions, two job opportunities, two opportunities between, I don't say the name, but big company, French big company, and the position in marketing position. And I have this opportunity for Jean Rousseau. And Jean Rousseau was a small company. I didn't know nothing about leather goods or watch at this time. And but the company size, the human size of the company, yes.
At that time, what year is this now? What year are you in?
Now I'm 40. At this time I was 27 or 28. 27, I think, yeah, 28.
So 12, 13 years ago.
Yes.
And at that time, how big was Jean Rousseau in France or in the world as a company?
Not so big, because at this time we didn't open at, there is only Japan as a subsidiary. Now there is London, there is America, we have a subsidiary in China. And when I started in Jean Rousseau, I think in France, there were about between 80 or 100, 80 and 100 people, I think. And now it's more than 200 in France.
More than how many?
200.
200
in France.
Really grown.
For a small business, it's a very.
It sounds like Japan was the first place to open outside of France.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's very interesting, yes.
Why did they choose Japan? I mean, it's sort of counterintuitive, because normally, you have to have a fair bit of sophistication to succeed in Japan, or have something particular, because it's quite a competitive market here, quite different. And yet they chose to go to Japan first. Is there any reason for that?
There is, I think, personal reason because the president likes Japan. But yeah, of course, there is
another Japan fan.
Yeah,
huh?
yes,
That's
yeah.
why we're all here. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, more if we go to the business side, yeah, the idea is the way we think about that. It was if we success in Japan, we can success everywhere in the world.
Well, that's very fundamental ideas, and I totally 100% believe in that. You know, they talk about if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. But I think if you can make it in Japan, it's hard to imagine another buyer community or consumer community who would be more demanding than the Japanese side of things. You know, this is like the peak difficulty of everything here in terms of demand. So if you come up with a quality and arrangement or some offer here that works, it has to surely be easier everywhere else. So that was quite remarkable, yeah. And so when you joined, you worked in France first, and then they sent you here, or they sent you straight here?
I make a training in France, and after that I go to Japan.
How much training did they give you?
No, 1 month, something like that.
1 month,
Yes.
and then poof, you're off to Japan. Wow, okay. And so how long were you working for the head of the business in Japan before you took over?
Just 1 year.
In 1 year, my goodness gracious, wow.
Yeah, to be honest,
So that means you're about 29, 30 by the time you become the head of Japan.
I have a 2-year contract, and after 1 year, we have this discussion. President said to me, if you have a chance 1 year, if you success, you can stay. If you don't success, we can separate after that. And I'm still here.
Well, obviously successful.
Not bad, but yeah.
So, you know, it must have been interesting. I guess the operation probably hadn't been going that long when you joined in Japan.
Japanese subsidiary was created in 2006, I think. Yes, 2006 or 5, yeah.
And you came to Japan what year?
In 2012.
2012, so
Yes.
6 years later. So
Yeah.
you've got a whole bunch of Japanese working in the organization, hired by your predecessor. Now, did your predecessor open the office in
Yes.
Japan? He did. So he opened up, right? So he started from nothing, hired everybody, had a shop somewhere or a factory or whatever, and then moved to Namikidori in Ginza, right?
Very,
So you turn up and you are this young French guy who's had 1 month of training on the leather industry and 1 month of training on Jean Rousseau, and he's in the organization for 1 year, and then suddenly you're their boss. So that's not so easy, I'm sure. Not so easy. So how did you go about getting these, you know, existing, experienced Japanese staff to follow you? How did you engage them to follow you as the leader?
Yes, it's a good question. To at the beginning, my priority was to be sure they understand what I want to do. They understand what our company in France what the company in France want to do about the brand, about the company, how they want to develop. I want to be sure the bridge between HQ and Japanese subsidiary works well, because sometimes you have some for the communication, for understanding, and sometimes in Japan, people are doing well, and sometimes they say, okay, it's HQ, I don't care about, we do it locally, it's okay, no problem. But we are a brand, we have some goal, and we have to think about the future. It was to be sure that the message from HQ is well understood by the team in Japan. Because except me, now we have another French guy, except me, there is only one people who speak French in the company. We're close to 12 now, not 12, 18. And at this time we were 8, I think. We were 8. And especially in our business, people are mostly craftsmen. They are very focused on their work. And for the other work, sometimes they don't, they just want to be sure everything is okay, but don't maybe take enough attention to the, I don't know, the organization or something. Then my priority was to be sure everything, the communication, the trust, is how to say that, is good between HQ and simple world.
It's interesting too about that, craftsmen. I mean, in Europe, you had hundreds of years ago, you had the guilds, which were organising different types of crafts and different types of work, and so people took their craft very seriously. If you go to Europe now, leather work, taken very seriously, craftsmen, and long generations of that. In Japan too, long history of craft here. And a long history of perfectionism too. And I can easily imagine, Japanese crafts people being very, very, very focused on the quality and perfection and just detailed, so exact and making sure the customers get the perfect result, etc. So I can easily imagine they're not thinking about the branding, the marketing, the whole package of the things that you've got to think about. So I guess it's one thing to explain to them what headquarters is thinking. I guess it's another thing to get them to accept what headquarters is thinking. Well, that's very interesting what headquarters thinks, but this is Japan, and that ain't going to work. So we don't agree with that, or that's a bad idea. So how'd you go about getting them to sign on to follow headquarters? Because Japan's always an island, both as an archipelago, but also mentally, as this is Japan, we're separate. We do things differently here. It's not Europe. It's not France. We're Japan, so we've got to do things differently here. To get them to fit in, how did that work? What did you find worked well to persuade them that we have to fit in with how headquarters wants things?
Yeah, very important thing is to listen them, firstly. Listen the team, the people, because they have an opinion, and a good opinion, especially about craftsmen and detail focus and quality of service. Then I mentioned priority is to be sure the communication was good. It's not only from HQ to Japan, but from Japan to HQ is very important too. And to listen them, how to say that? Transmit the message to HQ was a good way to create a trust between me and the team, and after that, the team and the NHQ. But trust was very important. I really want to be sure that if they are not comfortable with something from HQ or with the company policy or something, I'm door open policy. They can talk to me, we can discuss. I try to understand them, their opinion, and we can it's very important to have this trust atmosphere.
And I guess your job before you took over as leader was in the sales area?
Yes, business developer, yes.
Business developer, right? So in that role, as you say, a type of OEM functionality too, where you're supplying direct to other companies and also doing your boutique stuff, or by that time, was it all your own boutique content?
We have our own boutique. Rousseau is OEM business, then it's a B2B, but we are supplier for watch brand. That it's not a Jean Rousseau brand. It's for we do straps locally for watch brand. Then we make services, everything locally.
And that would be for customized products, because you need I'm sure there's massive big factories somewhere in Japan pumping out straps, millions of them, but you're not doing that. You're not a scale business like that. You're a high quality product, expensive, high quality leathers, custom design, custom made for people. Yeah.
Exactly. We are focused more, especially locally. For the volumes, it's in France, but in Japan, we have the local team is more focused on the customized services, especially services, quick delivery, and detail focus.
Okay, so the mass market, so to speak, is coming directly from France. So I guess in that opportunity where you're calling on buyers, you learn a lot.
Yes, exactly.
You learn a lot about the business and the requirements. So I guess, you had that background. They're craftsmen in Japan, so they're concentrating on the craft. They're not concentrating on the business side of things. So you bring that buyer viewpoint to run the operation in Japan, which I guess is also a really critical piece to run the whole business, if you don't have that. And so what about ideas? Does Japan, of course, at a quality level, Japan's very, very high, but did Japan come up with anything innovative on this side that you're able to take to other parts of the world, or is it basically the world is bringing it to Japan and you guys are executing it here? Is there anything originated here which is quite unique, or new ideas or something like that?
It's a very interesting question, because for customize, especially on the strap, for customize on the strap, if I compare business of Paris Atelier Boutique and Japan Atelier Boutique, the proportion of ready-made straps, of sales of ready-made strap and customized order straps, I think in Paris at the beginning it was 50-50 or something like that. In Japan it was more than 80% customized strap.
Straight away.
Yeah, every customer don't want to buy a ready-made strap. They really want a customized strap.
I guess, I don't know about why it's 50-50 in France, but in my sense, I can go anywhere and buy a strap, ready-made strap. So there's no differentiation. There's nothing particularly special about that. What I liked about my experience with your company was there's the leather right there, and that piece there, they're going to cut my strap out of that piece right there in front of me, type of thing. And that, again, choosing a very unusual colour, that cobalt blue is a very unusual colour. I don't think I can get a cobalt blue just in a ready-made, because how many people want cobalt blue or whatever colour it might be? And I've got another one coming, thank you very much, a very nice one coming as well, and a burgundy, again, a nice burgundy, which I have to pop around and pick up. But I guess it's that Japan, I can easily imagine Japan would go the custom route, because it's a bit special, it's a bit different, a bit more personalised. Yes. I can easily imagine that. But so has something come out of that for a learning or an insight for the company to take elsewhere to make custom more popular than ready-made?
Yes, we have to. Yeah, it was my role. It is my role still now. Japanese customer expectations are very high. And at this time, it was kind of a surprise for HQ. They know Japanese is a different country, different culture, but they are, 1 millimeter is difference. It's not good. We can't deliver. It's not possible to deliver that. Especially
they didn't realize how picky
the
Japanese buyer is.
The interesting thing now, it's at this time, we are not so mature, but now the watch market is very bigger than at this time, and the expectation of the customer, the level of everywhere in the world, collectioners are very focused on the detail now. They are more and more interested in customize and very personalization of their straps. Just change the color of the stitching, the size, the lining. Every detail is important now. And finally, what's up? The trend, I don't know, the regular level of expectation in Japan become in other market the same level.
I guess if I'm not a big watch guy, unfortunately. Like some people are really big watch people, and but if you're spending serious money on a watch, well, the band has to match. You have to have a band that's going to go with that very expensive piece of equipment. So I can understand that. And it seems to me also that as a casual observer, that the pricing on luxury watches has really rocketed in the last few years, really rocketed up. So, and I'm guessing too in Japan, this sort of elevation of the pricing means that the straps have to go with it, you know. And so just a ready-made strap, yeah, you can try and charge a lot for it, but if the watch price is up here somewhere, the strap's got to be proportionate, I suppose. So what about things like getting ideas from your team? Now, I know you mentioned that many of them are craftswomen, so they're probably very good on Kaizen and you know, operational improvements, quality improvements, or whatever. But how do you go about getting their ideas?
Yeah, I have two. In Japan. We have two sides. One for product. In Japan, you know, summer is very hot and wet, and we push HQ to create a strap with a lining without stitching to be more resistant to sweat. Oh. It's a lot of discussion with customer. If you do that, it will be good, and we push friends to do it.
So what you put some, you have instead of just the leather on the skin.
Yes.
You put a special lining.
Yes, exactly.
On top of the leather.
And
to absorb the sweat, or to stop the sweat?
Just stop the sweat.
Stop the sweat. Yeah.
Because with a traditional strap, the stitch is going out from the lining, and with the sweat, it's going inside the strap because of the holes of the stitching. With a lining in a kind of rubber touch, without stitching, the stitching is inside. The sweat is stopped. So
the stitching creates a hole into the leather, so you stop that ability for the moisture to get inside. Yeah.
Exactly, and for us it was a success. For Japan we created a standard product for Rousseau, and I know for Asia they are happy we did that in the past.
You know, it's interesting. Japan. In my experience, I came here first in 1979, and the summers were incredibly humid.
Yeah.
Incredibly humid, like, you know, unbelievable. Today, Tokyo to me is yes, it gets humid, but it's a little bit drier heat than it was back in 79. And I think this is global warming, it's just the planet's getting hotter. But if you're in any type of humid climate, that's guaranteed to be something that you want on your watch band, because that's just going to get soaked in that humidity, isn't it? And I'm imagining that there are probably a lot of markets around the world which are like Japan used to be, or much more humid.
Exactly.
You get further towards the equator, that would be a very big plus, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Was that developed in Japan?
Yes, we firstly did it in the order made, and we pushed to have it on the standard in the collection for the ready-made straps. Then it was a good.
And what did France say when you said, "Hey, I got this idea. We're going to spend a lot more time and effort and money on the strap because we're going to make it waterproof"?
Yeah, there was.
Because France doesn't get that humid, I guess.
Exactly, and in our company there is not so much people who go to Asia during summer. Then no experience about that, but yeah, they trust us, and we started, and it works. And I'm happy.
How about those wealthy people in the Middle East who've got lots of dough and expensive watches, need a nice waterproof strap as well, right?
It's very, yes.
Yeah. And so how about, you know, we talked before about, you mentioned about trust. It's a very key thing everywhere. I think it's also a particularly key thing in Japan. You know, you didn't have a deep background in the industry. You don't come from a technical leather background.
Exactly.
Your experience in Japan, very limited. Yeah. Your leadership management experience, extremely limited. And so how did you get the team to trust you as the leader? What did you find worked well to get them to trust you?
I think for me, it's a constant work. You can be good at this time, but it's not possible. You have to be good at all time. And for that, I have the chance to have a good team. And I have the chance to have, I can say 2-3 key person I'm closer than the others, and I work firstly with them. We talk about everything, and they help me to be sure all the message, all the thing I want to do is communicate to the other people in the team. And I think it's very important to have key person, especially in the bicultural when you work in country which is not yours, and have this key person is very for me it's very helpful.
What other things have you found work well to build trust with team members?
I'm not, by example, I'm not very fan of Japanese traditional hierarchical organization. I prefer to be, especially in small company, it's kind of family or human size, and I think I don't need to be friend with everybody, but just know everybody just a little about the family or something, take care about them, and try to be sometimes to imagine what they think, take their place, and think about what can I do if I would be in their place, and be close. Communicate, not too much, but a lot to be sure they have the feeling to be integrated in the company. It's mainly communication.
You mentioned before that you did your master's degree, I guess in business management. Did you actually, it's sort of interesting, you go into university, you do a master's degree in business management, and then I wonder, did you ever find there was anything you could apply from the degree here in Japan? Because I even wonder how much of it you could apply in France, as a leader, but then you wonder, how much of it would be applicable in Japan? Was there any transfer you found between what you studied at university that you could actually use in your leadership in Japan?
For that, it's quite the same as when I studied Japanese language. After graduation, I go to Japan with my Japanese language graduation, but I start to work, and I have the feeling I can't be able to speak Japanese, And when I repeat some words, some expression, I realize, everything I learned, because it gives me some basics and everything. And it was quite the same for master degrees. At the beginning, it was, nothing, I'm lost, Everything I learn is just a theory or something. But, during working, I learned that, I learned about that, okay. And experience was very important, and it's come after. But just with the theory is not possible I'm not sure I use it. But because I have this experience, I can maybe, I don't know, my brain can do it.
I did a program, it was a 3-day program on leadership in Japanese by a Japanese organization. I won't say the name. And I was amazed when we did this program, because all of the content was coming from the West, And I said to the instructor, I said, I don't see any Japanese content in here at all. It's all Western content, And this is a long time ago now, right? This is probably 90, I don't know, 93, 94 maybe. And it struck me that this is just taken straight out of the Western, concepts of leadership, etc., into Japan in Japanese. But conceptually, I thought, well, don't you have anybody in this country who can talk about leadership, who's not a foreigner? It just is odd to me. I thought it was odd to me, but so interesting. I mean, I studied politics, international relations, history when I was at university, so there was absolutely no help at all. As far as leadership goes, I don't know that myself, I guess. But in terms of anything you found particularly, you found works well. We talked about getting ideas from people. We talked about building trust with people. Anything else that comes to mind that you think, oh, okay, I studied that at university, but actually I had to change it a little bit for Japan and it worked really well, or I'm just wondering what would be the change you made to make it work well compared to the original idea? Anything like that?
Yes. Yeah, for me, as you mentioned, I start with a very limited experience and everything. In the product, I have no experience. In Japanese management, I have no experience, just maybe some work 1 year when I work as a seller. And yeah, there is no watch shop without watch, and I didn't know nothing about watch. Then, firstly, yeah, I have to learn everything, but very, in the student style. Learn about watch, learn about leather, learn about craftsman, but I have to do then, and I'm still learning. That's very nice, I think, for in my job, because you have new generation of craftsmen, new generation of people, new way to manage, and I think maybe it's one thing I really love about my job and what I am doing. But yeah, I'm still learning from people, from product, from organization, and it's the way maybe I create. Maybe it's the most important thing, to create trust with other people, because I don't want to just say, oh, I like what you do, but I want to like what you do. I'm not able to do it, but I want to understand.
Did you try yourself to try cutting the leather, stitching the leather, making the bands yourself, to experience that as not a craftsman, as a permanent job, but just to have some touch, some sense of what they're doing, or the difficulty, or whatever?
I touch every day leather product. Take a look and watch. I don't try to make one straps, because I'm not.
Well, I was just thinking, just once,
Yes, but I just and I really like sometimes. I take 5 minutes. I stop my working, go inside the atelier and take a look on what they are doing. Every craftsman, and I can sort of focus everything, and it's very interesting for me. And yeah, I have the chance to develop this business, because it's a very noble product, noble material, and I think maybe my team understand that I respect what they do, and yeah, it makes trust, and makes them happy and motivated to work with me.
Although leather traditionally in Japan has been sort of taboo
Yes.
area of work because of association through Buddhism with killing animals, and leather workers were basically discriminated against for thousands of years, basically. And so, even today, when people are getting married and they do a search on where the family comes from, if it comes from a particular village where they were leather workers, or any of those sort of so-called taboo professions, there's a real discrimination against marrying into that family or whatever. So, today, as Westerners, we don't have that taboo. Leather work is like any profession. It's a high-class, high-level profession. We don't have that taboo. Is anything of that left over still, though, in Japan, or have we moved beyond that type of taboo idea? Any stigma still attached to leather work?
I don't have the feeling, I don't meet some people or this kind of taboo or discrimination now. I think it's the opposite now. People are very, especially Japanese people, because a lot of Japanese people were fan of French, Italian brand, especially leather for leather goods. They were fan of Hermes, Louis Vuitton, everything. But now there are an interest on the Japan-made leather. They realize they have very good craftsmen for leather, and especially for the small, independent, individual leather craftsmen. Then it's changing. I think about the. I don't know about for a marriage or something. I'm not so close for family, but now people are very interesting about the craftsmen. I have a lot of customers who came and really talk with craftsmen people. And now there is some tannery place where the skin is manipulated in Japan, who they become famous. Then I think it's changing about this taboo. Yes.
Yeah, because when I used to work in trade, I forget how I came across this. Somehow I bumped into this issue around minority groups being discriminated against because they're in the leather trade, or not just leather, but similar types of taboo traditionally, because don't kill animals in the Buddhist tradition, and they were slaughtering animals, or they were processing the food, or they were processing the skins or whatever, and that's it was a big deal. But it's interesting that's gradually fading out. In terms of culture, because you have the Jean Rousseau culture, which is sort of like the overarching culture of the company, and then you have Japan culture, which is local, and then you have Alex culture, right? You put your stamp on the business here. You've been in the business a long time now. What have you found works well to build the culture you want in Japan? Understanding you can't have a culture here that's opposite to the headquarter culture because you get fired, right? And you can't have a culture here that's French because the people are Japanese and the customers are Japanese, so you've got to adjust for that. There's a few adjustments got to be made there. But then you have your own personal values and ideas. So how do you fit all that together to build a culture here that works?
Yes. As a French, I'm very proud to work for a French company and to teach and to explain to my Japanese team how it's good to work for a French company.
If you want to be successful as a leader, do the Leadership Training for Managers course. All companies need people who can both manage and lead. Leading people screams out for real skills in communication, dealing with all different types of people, being excellent at innovation, planning, delegation, handling mistakes, doing performance reviews really well, and inspiring and motivating the team. Do the Leadership Training for Managers course now in either Japanese or English. Leading is easy. Getting people to follow is the hard part. That is a great quote from Yogi Berra. Surprisingly, despite the complexities of leading here in Japan, everyone has to work it out by themselves. Foreign leaders want practical, applicable, expert advice. This is now available for the first time in history. Grab your copy of Japan Leadership Mastery on Amazon today and avoid the mystery, trial and error, especially the errors. Okay, I'm going to ask the question. Being an Aussie, being Australian, what's good about working for a French company?
Oh, yeah, French. French is good. No,
what's good?
What is good in French? But I don't have a lot of experience, but since I was a kid, French food is good. You have the culture of the beautiful thing, the taste, and I think it's you have an heritage and history. It's not French is not better than Italian or something. It's just I'm proud to be French and for French culture. Then I'm kind of happy to teach the value of a French heritage, craftsmen.
When I talk to people from Scandinavian countries, and I interview them for this podcast, they often talk about they have a strong sense of not much big hierarchy between the bottom and the top, rather even across, and I would say equality, or no discrimination against women or minorities or whatever. They're very fair. They want to be very fair. I don't know much about French culture. I mean, I love going to France, so love to visit. I've never lived there. I've never experienced it, but I'm just wondering, do any of the values, from France work very well in Japan? Is there a nice fit in the value systems?
Yeah, I think there is some. Yeah, in Japan they love good food, they love good product, luxury. For French we are famous to sell weapons and macaron. Then I think for the macaron side is good for us. Japanese like French food, French wine. Then I think for Japanese people work for a French company is kind of something they can be proud.
Bit prestigious.
Yes, prestigious exactly. Yeah.
And Jean Rousseau, is it a family company?
Yes, the owner, the president, by Jean Rousseau at the end of the 90s. Jean Rousseau is the name of the first craftsman who created the company in the 1954. And the company go to bankrupt in the 90s, and it was not yes, Jean Rousseau was the name of the first craftsman, and at this time it was just an OEM. They make just strap for watch brand, and the name of the company was Cobra, company of bracelet, Cobra, and the actual owner by the company in the 90s, at the end of the in the 90s, and name it Jean Rousseau as a homage to the first craftsman, and really want to develop the both side. Of course, maintain the business with OEM, with watch brand, and develop the brand and the services with the atelier boutique concept.
So, having a long heritage, and then, a change of ownership when the company had a few financial problems, and then rebranding it.
Yeah.
As Jean, I must say, I think as a name, Jean Rousseau, it's a very nice to say as a name. It flows, Jean Rousseau, it flows very easily. I'm not a French speaker, but it's just easy to say. And I guess that name travels all around the world quite easily as well. So you're building a brand, basically. So, part of that in Japan is you're building a brand. And to build that brand, you need a certain culture inside the organization to, radiate something of that to the buyers. So what have you found works well to build the right culture in Japan as the leader?
Yeah, the easy thing I can say, Japanese is very focused on the detail. And we are developing a brand with the services, with the customized, personalization. Then for us, starting in Japan, I think it was the best thing we did. Because Japanese people are very naturally focused on that. Then they are very focused on the customer servicing, the high quality services. And
is the customization quality in Japan the best in the world?
I prefer you ask that to the customer.
It's a leading question, because you're right. The Japanese have something, to me, something in their hands and their eye for detail that me, as an Aussie coming from a big country, I don't have that. I'm big picture sort of thing, but they're very, very sensitive, detail, very specific, oriented in a way that I'm never going to be like that. My wife's like that. She's very detailed oriented compared to me, and picks up things, got really good eyesight for things. So I see that aspect, which fits customization very well. So I just curious, whether anybody else in the world can produce quality at the same level as a Japanese team who've got that natural aspect to them,
Especially now, because there are a lot of tourism in Japan, and especially watch tourism. People who like watch came in Japan because there is a very nice second-hand market, everything. You have some customer from America, Europe, who came and they know about Jean Rousseau. They prefer order in Japan than the other country. I don't know if it's real, if they compare, but yeah, they have this image of Japanese craftsmen with very high quality and detail focus. Then yeah,
Do any of your crafts people ever go to France, go to headquarters?
Sometimes
demonstrate what they're doing, or
they go at the beginning for the training, and yeah, I try to push. Not now. We have 2 craftsmen go in France just before the Corona, I think, and I really want to send other craftsmen in France to exchange. The goal is not to compare but share experience. Yeah, thanks to the video meeting and the technology now, we can do more and more communication. That is good. But yeah, I
think for Japanese though, they want that face to face, don't they?
It's really, one of my goals.
As that if they can, yeah.
I really want to send some of our Japanese craftsmen in France to share.
So you've been running the organization for how many years now? Like, got to be, what, 10, 11 years? You've been the president? Not president,
the manager, yes.
General manager?
Yeah, officially 10 years, yes.
About 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's my 11th, yes.
No. So if someone was to call you up and say, hey, Alex, I'm coming to Japan, my company's put me in charge of the Japan operation, and I don't know Japan, I don't speak Japanese, you know all about Japan, how can I be effective as a leader in Japan? What advice would you give them?
Start to talk with, do they have a team in Japan, a Japanese team?
Yes, existing team. They're going to come in and take over.
Yeah, start with talking with all people of the team, the needs, the expectation, the opinion about the company, about what they want to do. Try to find some how is the motivation or what they think about the company, what kind of image they have about the company, and I think it's the beginning, and after that, find the key person to be the good I don't know, in Australia you say soccer or it's football. It's the same. You have the coach, but the coach needs a captain to be sure all the message go to the team. And I think if we are the coach of the Japanese subsidiary, we need some good captain.
Captains,
to send your message, to receive some message. Because sometimes all the people want to say directly to you because you're the manager, the person in charge. Then naturally, because of the Japanese culture, maybe because of their Japanese culture, they are afraid to talk directly to you. But you need people to have this information and create some key person, know about the feelings about the company, the future, their fear, their expectation, and start with that it's a good start, I think, because you can take you can make an image of what kind of team you are, if they are motivated, if they have some there is some potential, or if they need something to motivate them. It's the first step.
And what about Japanese? Should they learn Japanese language?
I think for me, if you want work in a long term in a country, mid-term, more than 1 or 2 years, it's good to have some basics. Of course, you don't need to be the best Japanese speaker, but you need some, because I don't have some. I don't have so much experience in other country to compare, but especially as a Japanese culture, you have a lot of cultural aspects in the language.
You would be speaking Japanese all day long, I guess, because you mentioned there's only 2 French speakers in the whole company. So most of your day is in Japanese, I suppose.
I would say 60, 70, one day 60, 70 in Japanese, 25, 30 in French and sometimes in English, yeah. You can hear my accent better, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you'd recommend for them, you know, in terms of find a good captain, you know, and learn Japanese? Any other advice for them and how they can be effective as a leader?
There is one thing, I think the most common and until now, with my experience between France and Japan, and when I talk with other people in the same position, there is something very, I think, Western people, as us, when we have a project, we want to go straight to the result. And Japanese, they want to evaluate every risk, every detail of the project before starting. If there is a problem for Western people, we think, we start, and after that, we can repair. Japanese people is, if there is this problem, it's not possible to start. Then, if you know this, I think it's just a kind of basics. Basically, it's just the one of the most important difference of culture. You have to know. If you know that, you can adapt. Yeah.
I think for Australians like me, you know, like we go,
yeah,
and then we hit a wall. Okay, how do we go around it, over it, through it, under it, and keep going? You know, we sort of we work it out on the way through, and the idea of sitting down and plotting it all out and thinking about every possible thing that could go wrong beforehand, and have some countermeasure and have some antidote and have some fix. No, that's not going to suit our character, I think.
Yeah.
But for the Japanese, because I know here, in my own company, if I come up with an idea and I get some feedback, all I get is negative. And at first, it used to annoy the hell out of me. You know, why are you all being so negative? You know, because I'm always positive, but they're being negative to again take out the risk. Eliminate potential problems, evaluate where we're going to have issues beforehand. It's just a different approach, isn't it? Yeah. If you don't know that, you can think, wow, gee, my team's very negative. I should fire all these people and get some positive people in here instead.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's not the problem, right?
Yeah, no, it's not the problem because, I just have this recent experience. We opened a new our second shop in Japan in Osaka. In
Osaka?
Yes.
Congratulations. Whereabouts in Osaka?
It's a shop in the Daimano Shinsaibashi.
Oh, okay.
And yes, and it's kind of big for us because we are a small company, human size, and it's difficult to find new people, everything. But I'm very positive too, optimistic and everything. But when I talk about that, we have to find people. It's difficult, and very negative or very afraid opinion, everything. But it doesn't mean that people are against. They are very happy at the end if the company is developing. But they think firstly, not at the result, but at all the risk and the step we have to do. And if we manage well that, I think for Western manager in Japan, I think if we manage well that, we can take the best of the both. More in a more small.
Do you do any special collaborations with brands? You know, like I'm just thinking, you know, there are some very expensive, high-end luxury brands sell well in Japan, and so I'm just wondering, you know, by again, you do some special collaboration for their top clients or something, you know, that'd be interesting, I wonder.
Yes.
To give some, you know, lift to the Jean Rousseau brand itself.
Yeah, we have the chance to have very good partner, and thanks to them, we, especially watch brand, very high level, high-end watch brand, we do some trend show, some workshop. We put our experience to they introduce their customer to our experience. Then it's very interesting for us too. and to prepare this kind of a collaboration event. It's every time it's a challenge, but it's good.
And if I was going to ask you about your definition of leadership, what would that be?
It's a good question. I'm not. Yeah, I think there is not only one good leadership. There is a good leadership for a good context. There is different leadership for different context. Then, a good leadership it's an adapted leadership. Yeah, to motivate people and make people better to go to the common goal. Something like that.
That sounds very good. Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining me. And please join us again for our next episode of Japan's top business interviews.